Okay, so the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro have finally been released. A little while ago, like a few months ago, I made a video discussing about the leaks and rumors about the Pixel 6 and how I thought that it was going to be a disappointment. Well, it turns out I was half wrong, but also half right at the same time. Allow me to explain. Okay, so here's something about the Google Tensor chip that I actually did not expect. First of all, evidently, Google didn't really design it. They really just borrowed a design from Samsung. They really just borrowed a design from Samsung's Exynos lineup of processing chips and pretty much added their own custom stuff to it. How do we know this? Thanks to Geekbench. It literally got the same exact scores as Samsung's Exynos chip. Did they really design that? No, they're really just borrowing from Samsung. But supposedly, Tensor is supposed to allow Google to improve in the areas where they've really fell short of, which is video. More on that in a minute. Why don't we actually talk about the rest of the phone themselves before we get into the disappointment parts? First of all, Google actually gave us some fairly decent hardware. So, in terms of the materials, it's glass and aluminum, matte on the $600 variant and glossy on the $900 variant. Marquez really thinks that the finishes should be swapped, but because I think glossy is more premium than matte, I think it's just fine. Though I do have to admit, that's a $300 difference. Wow, that's pretty big actually. Despite that, some people are really questioning the Pixel design that they've gone with, the visor. I actually really like it because for once, I don't know why so many other manufacturers have failed to do this, but for once, we actually have a company that is actually making their own original design instead of basically trying to make a knockoff of the iPhone. I'm serious, this phone looks nothing like the iPhone. I can't really say the same about some other phones. I'm looking at you, Samsung. It used to be Samsung that made the original designs, but no, not really anymore. Now it's actually gone to Google, so I actually like the new Pixel design. It looks good, and it's original. They didn't cheap out on materials like Samsung has been doing as of late, so it's glass. It also has wireless charging, thank goodness. Though there's one thing that I am really confused about them, and it's the storage options. For some reason, on the 6 Pro, the black variant, you get 3 different storage options of 128, 256, and 512. You get those options. You go for the white, you get 128 and 256, no 512. And then for the exclusive champagne color, it's 128 only. Google, why are you doing that? That's really a terrible idea, to be honest. I won't complain too much because they finally increased the storage options. It used to be 64 as standard and 128 max. Finally, we can get a Pixel with more than 128. I don't know why it took Google this long to do it, but they finally did it. Obviously, it's going to be running the latest version of Android, which is Android 12, and I don't exactly have much opinions on that because I have not used Android in a while. In fact, I would actually like to take a look at Android again at some point. I'm not in that big of a rush because I'm more of an Apple kind of person. I don't exactly have too many opinions on the software other than I really like how personalized you can actually customize it. Like, instead of just app layouts and wallpapers and app icons, well, now you can get the whole theme to basically optimize itself based on your wallpaper. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the wallpaper on your home screen really shows off your personality. So because Google actually pulled data from the wallpaper where you definitely show off your personality and set that as your system theme, it feels a lot more personalized, to be honest. So that's a positive opinion, but other than that, I have no idea what else has changed about Android 12s. And now we get to the one part that really is kind of disappointing. So it has improved. It's finally not a performance nightmare like it has always been, because somehow it always manages to compete with last year's chip. I don't know why Google has such a hard time getting their hands on the latest version of the Snapdragon chip, but now they actually designed it, and according to Marquez, I have not tested this myself, it performs decent enough. After all, it is Samsung's Exynos chip, so. But there's one thing about it that I find extremely disappointing that Tensor was really supposed to help with, and it's the biggest reason why, well, aside from stock Android, it's really the biggest reason why Pixel fans really love the Pixel so much. It's the camera. For years now, I have been telling people, no, the Pixel does not have the best camera. Sure, it takes pretty good pictures, but you're completely disregarding something else that cameras are also capable of doing, and that's taking videos. So when Pixel fans always tell me it's the best camera in the world, sure, they're talking about pictures, but I'm sorry, smartphone cameras can do more than just take pictures. So if you really judge a camera by its overall performance, which includes not just pictures, but also videos, this is why the Pixel is not the best camera in a smartphone. You cannot change my mind on that. In fact, it's pretty much factual. It's pretty much factual at this point. So, yeah, stop trying to tell me it's the best camera in the world, because in reality, it's not. Tensor was really supposed to help with the one area that Pixel has always been lacking in, and that's video. So, has it helped? Honestly, no, it hasn't. The main thing that Google seems to do when it comes to handling their processing is you get a crappy viewfinder, and it doesn't really add the extra pixel touch until after you take a picture. This is how they get good pictures. In the viewfinder, it looks like crap, okay? You can't ignore that. It looks like crap. It's until after you take the picture, Google does their processing, and then you actually get the amazing picture that the Pixel is capable of taking. They're doing that processing after you take the picture. So it works great for stills because you're just dealing with one image, but the problem with videos is you got multiple images, like thousands, millions of images that you gotta process. So in order to do that, you have to do it in real time, and I do not understand why, but Google refuses to process these images in real time, and because of that, they just cannot get video to look good. Tensor definitely has also helped improve their stills. I won't disregard that. Like Magic Eraser, honestly, that's pretty cool, and that would really help me with thumbnails if I decide to take thumbnails with a camera. It only seems to work well for stills. As soon as you try to do anything that involves real-time processing, it just takes a trip to the dumpster fire. I don't understand why Google, I mean, sure, it's cool to say, okay, yeah, the picture doesn't look great, and then at the end result, wow, this is amazing. I mean, pictures that come out after the fact, sure, yeah, it seems nice when they come out even better than what you thought they were in the preview window, but you can't get that when you need to do real-time processing, and in video, you have to do all of that processing in real time, and this is something that Google just cannot do. I don't know why. It seems like their policy that they have to do the processing after the picture is taken. iPhones do this in real time. That's how the iPhones manage to get their amazing quality in terms of not just pictures, because I mean, you guys, if you really think pictures on the iPhone suck, what is wrong with you? iPhone pictures are not bad. In fact, they're actually pretty good. They may not be to your taste of Pixel, but that does not make iPhone photos trash. If you're calling iPhone photos trash, then I can easily call Pixel photos trash as well. But the reason why iPhone video is much better than Pixel, it's always because Apple does all of the processing in real time. Pixel, for whatever reason, policy or whatever, they cannot do it in real time. And because of this one policy or principle or whatever, basically at this point, I really don't see how video is going to improve unless Google actually decides to do the video processing in real time. But they're not. I don't know why, but they're just not. That is quite a big disappointment. In terms of camera fans, if you're really hoping that I finally say the Pixel is now the best camera because now thanks to Tensor, video quality has dramatically improved, when in reality, no, it has not. Hardware-wise, quality has improved because Google actually finally decided to upgrade the hardware, the camera hardware, but all of the things that make iPhone videos great, despite that they're still using 12 megapixel cameras, all of that is all because iPhones do the processing in real time versus Pixel. Yeah, it's got good hardware for doing this, but now to get the actual stuff that we think it makes it great quality software. Smartphones are not DSLR cameras, so if you want to get pictures to maybe not look exactly like a DSLR camera, but maybe similar or very close, then you gotta use software, because you can't get DSLR hardware photos with a smartphone just by hardware alone, because they're completely different hardware. You're not going to get the same set. So you have to do the rest with software. And this is why Google keeps falling short. They will not do the software processing in real time. And if you want to take good videos, you got to do this processing in real time. So sure, the hardware has improved. They only got 50% of where the video improvements need to be made. You gotta do the software stuff, Google, and kind of funny that I'm saying you gotta do the software stuff, because this is what Google has been doing for years with their pictures. This is a disappointment. The phone performs fine. It's not as unreasonable of a terrible value. I'm actually going to say it this time. The Pixel is not a terrible value. This is the first Pixel ever to not be a terrible value. This is why I said I am 50% impressed, because if you disregard video performance, I will actually say this is a decent value phone. But as Pixel fans always try to claim this to be the best camera in the world on a smartphone, no, I'm sorry, we're still not there just yet. This camera phone is still not the best camera phone yet. But I will say, compared to previous Pixels, Google, you actually got me impressed. You actually made a decent phone this time. I'm not mad at what you actually made. Though keep in mind, people, if you still try to tell me this has the best camera in a smartphone, you are wrong, because cameras do two things. You cannot disregard the second thing. I do not care if you say you can. You cannot. Aside from video performance, this phone definitely deserves its flagship price tag. This is something that Pixel has always failed at for so long, and you know what? It's higher price tag. It's still $900 starting price, so it's not the $1,000 territory like where the iPhones and Samsungs are. While it's not as perfect as them, I'm getting flagship smartphone vibes from this phone for the first time ever, which is really odd. Previous Pixels have felt like budget phones, or I guess the flagships really felt more like mid-ranges at extremely high price tags. Google actually made a good phone this time. Now, let's see if Google actually decides to continue in this direction, because they've been known to basically do the opposite or abandon new ideas every year. So Google, this is good. The only thing you need to do is improve video performance, well, in general performance, because, I mean, next year everyone's going to be demanding for more performance. This is a decent phone. I'm finally going to say it. Google actually made a decent phone. But any other phone before the Pixel 6 is garbage. You cannot change history. Alright, thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below. My name is Alpha DeWolf, Random Alpha, signing out.